Life can be terrifying. It's certainly confusing. None of it makes sense. This time of luxury and comfort due to technology and innovation should bring us closer to God, you would think. We have more chance for peace. So why is it that we are farthest from God that we've seemingly ever been? So much so that there is a seeming great revival going on. People are being spiritually awakened and called upon in ways that is just I've never seen in my life. Maybe I've just not paid attention enough. Maybe I've been too wrapped up in my own ego. I know that's been my problem most of my life. I've always told myself that my purpose here is to help other people. And that was always to make them laugh, to make them happy in whatever way that I could. And that's where I got fulfillment. That's very important for our life. We have to have purpose. But see, I was still playing in the minor leagues of that. It's like a caterpillar who makes a cocoon, but is too afraid to break free once they transform into a butterfly. I think it's because we all have to be humbled. We have to be humbled to the core. I thought I could, all my life when I really put my mind to something, I'd usually accomplish it and excel at it to some degree if I put enough focus into it. But this time was completely different. This time when I had my back injury and they nicked the nerve during the first back surgery, and then it all just kept spiraling, and then I didn't know what to do. I had no clue. Right now I'm standing in the spot where God finally came to me. I was walking down the trail up the hill here, and feeling sorry for myself, but I was beyond feeling sorry for myself because I knew something had to give. I could not do this anymore. I could not live with this complete lack of purpose, with just feeling worthless. I couldn't do anything. I was lost completely. So I asked God, please just show me a sign, just guide me. I'm not asking for anything. Just show me, point me in the direction, and I'll go that way. Not thinking he actually would, because 13 years of really not hearing much of anything because I had my hands over my ears. That kind of jaded me. But when I surrendered completely, he came to me exactly like I asked him to. Exactly like I had always hoped but never dreamed he could. But the gifts he gave me were beyond what I ever imagined. I'd seen stories of near-death experiences. I'd heard the stories of people who've been spiritually awakened in different ways, or born-again Christians, and it saved their life. But I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know that, yes, I would still have pain, but I'd no longer have suffering. I would have this inner peace that would just armor me and protect me through it all. It was the most profound and the greatest sign he could have ever sent me. So the white-tailed doe that came out of the woods, let's see if I can switch it around. Nope. She came along the shore right here and walked with me all the way down for about half an hour. She stood by me while I had to FaceTime my wife and kids, and I had to FaceTime my niece and my parents and sister. I didn't believe what was happening, but I still, until I walked away that day, I still didn't even understand. I was still like, I had that feeling. I felt God's presence before. I know I have. I felt it strongly a few times in my life when I really needed him. But never have I gotten direction like I did that day. When he came to me, he just let me know pretty much, hey, I'm here. And I'm like, okay. And I spent so long trying to chase him in the wrong way. I mean, every single thing I did wrong. I tried through psychedelics for a while because I figured people were having transcendent experiences through psychedelics, so I'll just try that and I'll just see what God is trying to tell me and where God is and maybe something more in life, but nothing. And I tried everything, and then not until the times in my life after the first time he came to me in Tulum. That was the only time he came to me when I was in a period of my life that was happy and just everything seemed to be going right for me, and I was just having a great time. I was only about 15 years old. But then, when I was borderline having a mental breakdown after chasing him the wrong way for too long, just driving the back roads, feeling sorry for myself just like I was the day here, and the song, Led Zeppelin song, In the Light came on just as I pulled up to the Shenandoah River. And I sat there and I just cried my eyes out. And it was, he saved me that day. But as profound as that was, he did not give me direction because I wasn't ready yet. I had so much suffering yet to do, and that was for a purpose. And he showed me every single reason. I had to go through that hell so I could walk through the hell of others to save them. And that was exactly why, I'd been surrounded by people who, my friends, my family, suffered mental illness. We've suffered, poverty. We suffered, you name it. There's somebody in my group, my people, that have suffered it, most likely. And it was vital for me to go through that suffering. I didn't suffer like Christ did, but it was analogous to Christ. It was a suffering that brought me so low that my old self died and I was reborn. And when I was reborn, I knew so much that I'd never learned, that I'd never earned. Maybe I had earned through the suffering, but it was all given to me like it was downloaded into my head. I mean, just spectacular, just blissful, just profound is the only way I could explain it. I can't explain it in words because words don't even begin to touch on how just amazing the whole thing was. So I was so lost for so long, and then I found myself because I didn't need to find myself. I did. I needed to learn who I was, but that wasn't the important part. That's what the whole first part of my life was for. I needed to learn who God was. And that's what I did. He showed me. He showed me everything. Even though this was about a year and a half ago, I've still been unpacking all of what I need to do. For the first year, I just devoured philosophical, religious, spiritual, just information, just as much as I could take in, because I knew that he was calling to me to do a certain thing, to be a spiritual guide to people, to be a hope bringer to people. But I didn't know how to do that. And as much as he showed me, he kept pointing me in the directions I needed to know, because he can't learn all that stuff for me. Our brains are limited. Our brains are just probably like a grain of sand on the beaches of what our souls probably know and understand. But we're here for some higher reason. We're experiencing this world. We're spiritual beings experiencing this physical world. And there's a reason for it. I've thought about the reason. The reason's not as important as just having faith. But I really do think that God is training us to be some sort of divine, either creators or whatever it is. And so we have to go through all these experiences because we have to suffer. We have to feel all of the pain and all of the joy and all of the every range of emotions that our creations will go through when we create them. So when we ask why God creates suffering, why God allows innocence to suffer. And that is because what is life without suffering? What is happiness? It doesn't exist. There is no happiness without suffering. There is no meaning without hardship and suffering. There's none of that. So I'm going to leave it there for today, because it's a beautiful day and a lot of people are out here, and I want to go see what else God has in store for me today. And when I leave here, I'm going to call an old friend, maybe call a few old friends, because as much as we lock ourselves away, it's because we're scared. It's because we think nobody understands, and nobody does understand you. That's what makes us beautiful. Our imperfections, the scruffy beard that I should have probably brushed before I came out here. Everything about us, the good, the bad, the ugly, makes us beautiful and divine, just like God wants us to be. So God bless you all. We'll talk soon.